Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with the Brothas World Cup Edition semifinals as we get rolling here. It's your boy ML, co-host Deion, and our man Charles. And a little different because we just couldn't stay off the Americans' hard pause after everything is gone on the last few days. And we just couldn't let them ride out in the sunset after losing. I don't even want to say admirably because, as Deion said, the Netherlands can score whenever they want. But we were wondering why Gio Reyna only had 70 minutes of playing time. We found out.
Yeah, we were.
And we're going to throw it in. We weren't running collectively.
No.
Collectively.
I was not.
Well, Gregg has decided that he would go to a leadership summit and put out all the tea, all the laundry, hanging it out, and letting us know what he thought about a certain player, as he said, who did not show enough effort on the pitch, on and off the pitch, did not meet the standard for the USA, and it didn't take long for things to get leaked to the reporters. And then today, of course, we got the kickback from Reyna, no pun intended, but here we are, USA in the news for, not winning. And unfortunately, there's no winners here, all losers. Deion, what are your thoughts on the Berhalter Reyna saga?
Listen, man, he never said that boy's name. So, he never said that boy's name.
He did.
So, for everyone's reaction to be, this must be Gio, it tells me everything I need to know about Gio at Dortmund. And, there is the rumors floating around that he does the same thing there. And then he felt the need to respond. I can't stress enough he never said that boy's name. So, a 20-year-old kid, I doubt he wrote that press release. Does Gio Reyna speak English? I don't even know the answer to that.
I've never heard him talk, so I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying. But actually, he does. I watched him do something with Jude on YouTube. But yeah, listen, he didn't say that boy's name. That's all I gotta say. He could have been talking about anybody.
Charles, talk to us about the Reyna Berhalter saga.
You know what it sounds like? First off, if you was in trouble for your job, I'm sure the first thing when Gregg got off that plane and he had to go sit down with the Federation, the very first question they were asking about his tactics and all these other things, why didn't you play Gio? I'm sure that was amongst the higher ups in USA Soccer. I'm sure that was a discussion topic. So I'm sure that shit came up, and he kept it a bean. He just sounds like a person trying to keep his job. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep my shoe plug. If he get fired, he going back to New Balances. So it just sounds like one, and it's the truth. It's not like it's one of those things where I don't feel like he should have to lie on that shit. Somebody, and especially one of those things too. If people are going to keep asking you about it and keep asking you about it and keep asking about it, eventually you're gonna say you're gonna keep it a bean. Especially if the person you already kind of feel away towards the person because they weren't giving maximum effort. It's not like this isn't one of those things where he I don't even like the way that we're calling this a feud. There were dudes on the team that had to talk to him about his terrible fucking effort. He admitted that he had shitty effort, in his message. So it's I thought this was going to be kept in house. Why? Who are you? I just don't understand. This is the American media in 2022, bro. What do you think this was going to be? This ain't Germany, bro. You're not playing Hoffenheim next week.
Also, I don't like Berhalter. I think Berhalter should go. But I also think, maybe 8 to 9 of the 11 players that played or started should go too. And my question is, because I know ML is strongly on Berhalter should go. Let's say they had Arteta. They'll say they had your boy, and they were using players that have felonious activities off the pitch, just like Arsenal. This team doesn't do better than Berhalter did with them. The players are the ones that have to step up. Maybe I disagree with his tactics. Maybe I disagree with his game plan. Would I have played Reyna a little bit more? Probably, because I think Pulisic stinks. I think Tim Weah stinks, and they have no striker. But how much better could this team possibly have been? They got out the group.
Yeah, but I think too, it speaks to like the lack of respect that we all have for Greg, because I feel like if Pep or Arteta or anybody else puts a name on that bullet, like none of us are going to be over here saying that he shouldn't have called the player out, because we respect the manager and his tactics much more than we respect Greg. So it's like who we almost are looking at it like, who are you to call him out almost. But at the same time, like, this is soccer, bro. Like it's like one of the games, like it's one of the games you effort is like a requirement. Like, I don't know what you mean by this. And you're 20, you can run all fucking day. Like, I just don't understand. Like,
team.
At the end of the day, it's just you're not playing hard. Is like, as an athlete, as a former athlete, like, you're not playing hard is not an acceptable excuse to me.
Yeah, it's a killer.
We can't teach effort. Like, right, that's the old adage. If I have to teach effort, then like, what are we doing here? Is Gio how should we say, exemplary USA player? Clearly not. Absolutely not. And I appreciate that Adams apparently and them like got into it or whatever, and the captain's supposed to be the captain. So I'll use it's great that you brought up the Arteta stance, right?
Well, no, that was not, like, first off.
I said Pep first.
I was not complimenting Arteta at
Oh,
all.
no. I totally understand that, even though.
Because listen, as Americans, we don't have 5 years to play on Thursdays. Like, we'd like to be pretty good in 2026.
Yeah, that's important. You can't be hosting and not. Listen, we'll get into that, like, as we go along. We got to figure out what's going on with the academy. Let me take this example. Aubameyang, like, there was multiple offenses. Like, everything kind of came out and you saw everything with the documentary. And he's the captain. That's at the professional level. And they're like, yo, it is worth it for the team culture to actually pay this dude off. He just needs to be out of Conley, of North Conley. Like, he just cannot be on Conley Road with us and what we are doing. Arteta handled that thing. Now, the problem with the World Cup, I don't know if it was enough time or whatever it is. He did, though.
Arteta handled that first off.
Let him go. Aubameyang was gone. The captain of the squad. Literally, the dude who kept him gave him a job because he got him a trophy.
It took him 6 months to get rid of Aubameyang, who didn't want to be there. Yeah. And then he didn't replace Aubameyang, and then they fell out the top 4 because they had no strike.
Yeah. But I think the difference in that, Mike, is the fact that the Aubameyang situation happened over months, and this is literally like that's why I think it's like so bad. It's like, you're not playing hard within a 10-day span. It's like, bro, I can't even put you out there right now. Like, you don't even have enough time to earn my trust back.
And Aubameyang not playing hard was strictly based around, I don't want to be here. Like, it wasn't like, I want to be here and just be lazy. I don't want to fucking be here. He didn't want to be there anymore. If Gio don't want to play for the U.S., that's fine.
Pierre, the thing is that the check was the check. He wasn't getting those type of wages anywhere else. And honestly, once again, like, I think the armband, I'm not saying one way was better than the other. Listen, what Gio did was very unprofessional, but I'm not team Greg anyway, even going into this. But what I'm saying is that I don't think this is being done with I mentioned Klinsmann. I think all three of us agree that Klinsmann's been our best manager in the last 20 years, right? By far. Like, especially because how I see it is the cycle is even more so than the World Cup. It's everything around it. How are you maturing players, etc. This doesn't happen under his watch. That's what I'm getting back to. I just don't see that.
I don't know if
I just don't see it.
I don't know.
That's where I'm at.
Gio, like, this is a pattern for Gio. He didn't do this for 10 days. Like, he does it at Dortmund.
I think Klinsmann would have sent him home, though. Like, Greg mentioned sending him home, but it would have been too much of an issue. Klinsmann's not American. He'd have sent his ass home.
But, like,
yes.
Is that what you want? Like, is that what we want? Like, we've been bitching about Gio didn't play for 2 weeks, and now it's like, well, he should have went home. Like,
no, I'm just saying, though, like, Klinsmann,
you know what I mean?
if you were talking about Klinsmann, this wouldn't have happened under Klinsmann. No, because Klinsmann would have sent him home for not doing that.
Oh, I agree. But, like, I'm just saying, under Klinsmann, the reaction isn't necessarily, like, what American, like, soccer fans would have wanted either.
Yeah. But I also think, too, that goes back to us respecting Klinsmann more. We would have respected him a little bit more than Greg.
Right. That's where I'm at with it.
Maybe the three of us, but overwhelming majority, I don't know about that one.
I think if we took a poll, folks are cool with if Greg needs to go. I just don't think he's the right person to. I mean, especially because Mexico, let's call it what it is. They are a mess right now. They don't know what's going on with their manager. None of their up and coming talent are really panning out how they thought it would be. They're a mess. Like, we need Canada right now. I mean, granted, Canada's got to be happy with what they did. They got two people in their group who actually are in the semifinals. I mean, they can't be mad about that. And plus, their performances were fine. They probably shouldn't beat Belgium, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But Canada's fine.
Southgate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, calling him Gregg Southgate.
Well, there you go. Let's put a bow on it, I guess. Let me just get my quick thought out there. Here's my thing. I don't think clearly Gio didn't write that message. Ain't no damn way. Some publicist or his dad told him exactly what to do, exactly what to write. Here's where I do agree with him, because he didn't like that he was getting the questions. It's not so much that Gregg didn't say his name, but Gregg put all the business out on the street without mentioning his name, and somebody leaked something to the reporters, and I don't think it was Gio. Because he didn't want to even answer the questions, because what he said, he's like, listen, I apologize. I moved on. That's another thing. He apologized to his team. I'm not saying that he is not in the wrong. I'm just saying that he's more right in this situation.
I don't think
afterwards. 100%.
I don't. Afterwards is fucking defeats.
Afterwards is where I'm at.
Afterwards is nigga. We out the World Cup and Gregg ain't got no fucking job, so who gives a fuck? Like it doesn't. It's not relevant.
I hope so. He's got to be gone. You can't have him as the manager next a week from now.
But I'm perfectly fine with a dude trying to save his job, letting it be known. Because that's the number one. What's the number one question he's probably been getting asked the last 2 weeks is why didn't you play him? And he probably kept his mouth shut for a decent amount of time. And then finally, you know what? That motherfucker wasn't playing hard.
I was gonna say I feel like he did keep it in house. Like that's what Gio kept saying: keep it in house, keep it in house. He did for 3 weeks. He could have said this shit in early November and no one would have cared. He chose to wait. That
shit after the Wales game. He could have said that.
He took all the blame. He took all the heat. Even when Gio played, it's not like Gio did shit. Berhalter took all the. I feel like he did keep it in house.
This is a confidence game. You cannot. There's no. I just don't like. You can't lose the coach's confidence and then get mad at the coach for saying that. But like I just think we're being more mad at the reaction than we should be more mad at the action than the reaction.
And I said this in the group chat to y'all too, and I firmly believe this. He doesn't play at Dortmund. I don't care about injuries. I don't want to hear no excuse for like why he's not playing. He is not playing at Dortmund right now, and when he plays, it's sparing. So since last May, he's played 360 minutes of soccer. You would think that a kid at 20 who thinks the world of himself clearly probably has been the best player on every fucking garbage American youth soccer team he's played for, would show up to the World Cup wanting to kill. And for me, like him not wanting to do that, man, he ain't built the way I would want players.
Like showed up in the practice game. He didn't play hard in the practice game before that. So what's the excuse for why he didn't play hard in the practice game before that?
He should have killed Pulisic in them.
Yeah, and I guess so fair, especially if he says he's 100% healthy. You need to go and show the manager why you should be playing. So, all right, we've been in – both of you all have played basketball. Actually, both of you have played overseas basketball. And what I mean by that is like, Charles, being paid for it. Deion, like you've been with one of the best AAU teams and have played, outside of the United States, etc. You know how it is in a locker room, right? There is a lot of shit that goes on, like Charles, 4 years of the stuff that you have been through. And at our, where we're at, Deion, in terms of like actually knowing the professional players and the close knits that you've been in different locker rooms. Gregg handled it fine during the World Cup. Okay, that everybody just kept, because you know what? The team is bigger than this bullshit that's going on right now, because we really only have 3 weeks to get done what we need to get done. They only get a week of prep. So I understood all of that. I understand why he handled it. Yeah, 2 weeks, mate. Barely, right?
And real quick before you keep going.
Yeah.
Mind you, the U.S. didn't play a scrimmage game the way every other country did, which means those trainings that they were doing that Reyna was being a little bitch for meant even more. Much more important. 100% on that front. So I think Gio is absolutely at fault by the action, right? And Tyler Adams did what he was supposed to do. Whoever the leader, the dude wearing the armband, especially that matters much more in soccer, football, in terms of handling the business, like got in front of him. So the apologies happen. I have a problem with once we come home, we are still talking about things that are not about improving the team and not improving the nation. And it was more or less like, hey, we had this instance, et cetera, and like this was going to be a news story instead of like thinking like,
damn it, get the academy right. Get whatever money needs to be right. Like, that's what I'm not hearing from Gregg. So I have a problem as a leader who didn't take full responsibility. He took it during the time, but now after the fact, it feels like he's backtracking. That's my problem.
This is getting better. I mean, two things. One, this is about getting better because you don't get like, I mean, you get better playing games, but a lot of like what playing a game does is like your first game of the group, hypothetically, you know, your confidence is probably in the middle, maybe super high. This American team probably in the middle, and you put a beat down on Wales hypothetically, and now you go into that England game like firing on all cylinders. You're not necessarily a better player, but you're a more confident player. You get better in practice, like you really fucking do. That's where you like actually get better in like workouts, etc., which he isn't taking seriously. And like I said, bro, he doesn't fucking play. I've been on teams where I'm the best player, and I've been on teams where I'm the worst player. And I promise you, when I'm the worst player, I'm coming into practice like trying to kill. When I'm the best player, that's when you slack off, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I even look at it just from the standpoint too of like we're talking about like it was supposed to be kept in house. This shit could have came out like the day after it happened. Gregg could have said this after he didn't play against Wales. He hadn't been playing. He hadn't been like the other day. He didn't do a damn thing in the scrimmage. He walked around and flopped. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not to say like he didn't hold it down is I think a little mischaracterizing because it could have been much worse and this could have came out like the day after he apologized to the team. This could have came out.
When did he apologize? Was it
that No, they said he apologized during the deal because I don't think he would have played if he didn't apologize. I think it's what they were getting at.
Well, listen, he didn't play.
Then that's my point. Then that's the problem, though. If you wouldn't have played because then like who? I just think if it came out as fucking like I just think that's the most irrelevant part, kind of to me. And that's the athlete in me is like you weren't playing hard. I give far less impetus than did coach tell about that.
Do you think anyone gave a fuck about his apology?
No, because then that's the thing too. You don't play hard, your teammates. Like they talking about Hercules Gomez over talking about. If I was one of those teammates, I would never trust Gregg. I'm like, no, I wouldn't trust Gio Reyna ass again.
Bro, I've never heard an apology from a teammate and care.
That's what I'm saying. And care.
I've just been like, bro, like, show me you apologize, but that shit never happens.
You already think he asked. You already think what you think about that teammate you got, and ML, you know the guy, the one that comes in last is unreliable. That person. I'm just saying, you feel how you feel about that person, and no matter how much that person apologizes, bro, it's an actions thing.
All right, so
for a basketball reference, Gio Reyna is the kid that makes you run extra suicides at the end of practice because he wants to get up and down the court lazy. You fucking with that dude?
Make the time. You're more than capable of making the time, dude.
Are you fucking with that dude? I promise you, you're not.
Let's use real examples. I think like an absolute. How should I say this? Like an absolute offense that can never be forgiven. Like Delonte West's apology doesn't mean a damn thing. Okay,
we're not doing this.
What he did? He did not apologize for fucking Bron's mom. That never happened. That's what I'm saying. If it was to happen, like no one cares about that apology. And the teammates. He did that.
God, John! Yeah,
we know Gio Reyna did this. We don't know if Delonte did that or not. Now listen, Bron may be anti-homeless. He hasn't spoken up about Delonte West in a while. Like I think Bron might be an instigator into drug acts and stuff like that, and he might enjoy homelessness. But that's neither here nor there.
That is an unforgivable offense if it was to happen in a locker room. And let's just say if it was to happen. I'm giving you degrees.
But you also, 2 episodes ago, came on here talking about Benzema. You want to talk about some locker rooms? You want to talk about unforgiveness?
They're the somebody said he's not there. They did forgive him. Though. He was in training.
And it took years.
Yes, you're right. I mean, whatever the suspension was, like the brother got locked up and then he was allowed back on the squad.
Yeah. Gio will be at the Olympics. He better play hard in the Olympics.
And that's where I'm saying is that like that's got to be a second chance on that front. Okay. What I have a problem is the person who is making the decision and giving the card into for pregame 90 minutes beforehand. I don't think he can be trusted right now. I can't trust Gio Reyna, but I for damn sure can't trust Gregg Berhalter. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I just feel like we're making it seem like Gregg went on ESPN FC and said this shit. Like that's the only thing.
Like, why can't?
Like we're making it seem like he did that. He didn't.
My question is, why can't you trust Gregg? I get not being for his tactics, not being for any of that. He didn't flame out of the tournament in a bad way. Like, he's not like Southgate, where like you can make an argument that Southgate cost England a chance at winning the whole thing.
There's no question. He's done that twice.
The U.S. did exactly what they were supposed to do. The team is not that talented, and they got to the round of 16.
Okay. Yeah. All right, this will be interesting. I don't think this is the last time we're going to be talking about this.
Last thought for me is I just think
Please.
It's unreasonable for you to even think that was going to stay in house. It's the U.S. Nothing. There's not like imagine if Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan were beefing, you would know about that. If something was happening with Team US with the Dream Team, you would know something about that. Like this is your high profile team. Everybody cares about you this week. I just don't. This is American journalism. That shit's gonna come out, dude, one way or another. Because it could have, for all we know, somebody else said something and then they went and asked Gregg about it, and then he couldn't fucking lie about it because it was on. They kept it a beam. Her Gio had to apologize to the team.
Again, he never said Gio's name.
But you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just think trying to keep something quiet in 2022 is hilarious.
Plus, like, bro, who keeps shit in house, bro? Conte. If Tottenham tells Conte like they don't want to spend the amount of money Conte wants to spend, he's publicly courting Juve in the next press conference.
That dude, you know what? As Maya Angelou said, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. He does that all the time. Like they know what you hired.
Soccer is the biggest reality show on fucking television. They all
all do
this shit. It's just because it's some fucking 20-year-old kid that everyone thinks is better than he is. This type defensive Gio is exactly why you get the behavior that you got from Gio.
He's mid at best. Like, think about the gap.
We are mid at best. The country's mid at best, but he may be the best of the mid.
And think about him, though.
For real.
Gabby's 2 years younger than him, and there's a gulf between the two of them. And I'm just saying, the actual Jude, any of these players that you think these top-level midfielders, the kid, what's the kid at Chelsea? Gallagher? Like, any of these kids, I'm just saying, any of those, but they're on the field, they're producing, and they're like, we're not sitting here questioning their fucking effort and want to and heart.
That once again, we're all on the same page with that. If we're coaching effort, like, what are we doing? Like, why did you show up?
Why did you effort and healthier problems, like, you're gonna have a tough road, buddy.
Huge red flag on him. 100%. Huge red flag.
How do we know Gregg didn't try to handle this in-house? How do we know Gregg didn't try to get more out of Gio in training and Gio wasn't responding, and he doesn't fucking respond at Dortmund either? So Gregg decided, well, I'm going to go to the public then. This is a kid I need for 26, so maybe this is how I'll get his attention.
Yeah, who knows what? Like I said, I think I'm sure there's a little bit of soccer privilege that he's got going on because, as both his parents play for the national team, he feels like I said in the group chat, he feels like it's his fucking birthright to just go out here and do what he's supposed to do. And so I just, I don't need to try like everybody else. Tyler Adams is over here running himself to death. Robinson's up and down this flank all day, but I'm going to sit here and watch.
What he did was wrong, and how he behaved was wrong. Let's hope that he changes it up, because let's say this. I think they need him. I think it's fair to say they need him. It's because even from a depth perspective, like, you need him.
Yeah.
So, and you need him at like his best. You don't need him on his fake shit. You don't need whatever we got, the version that we got just now, but you need him at his top.
He's not good because you've never heard he's 20 years old, and you've never really heard about anybody coming to Dortmund to get him, and that's the literal purpose why Dortmund exists, is so people can come get their young players.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair, especially with his boy Jude. Right, the total difference. The best striker in the world left, or Dortmund grew him up. I think it's very fair to say the best young the best young midfielder in the world is going to be sold for what, 150 minimum. 140, especially after his World Cup. So
I'm going to say this about every American player: get him on Leeds.
Bro, I'm telling you,
say that. Get him on Leeds.
Fuck it, send him to Leeds. At least he'd play.
Good. Leeds is going to end up being Ted Lasso season 5. But first, is going to end up fucking coaching Leeds.
But yeah, at least he'd play.